안녕하십니까 교민 여러분. 중앙일보와 JTB가 진행하는 특별 자담회를 시작하겠습니다. 오늘 자담회 주제는 교민 여러분께서 그 많은 관심과 또 우려를 표하고 계시는 성인 기초 교육과정 예산 폐지 문제입니다. 저희 중앙일보가 몇 차례 보도했고 또 교민 여러분들도 몇 차례 통해서 잘 아시겠지만 올해부터 성인 기초 교육과정 소위 ABE라는 ABE Adult Basic Education 예산이 전액 삭감이 됐습니다. 그래서 이민 단체와 학생들 사이에서 많은 어떤 좀 반대의 목소리가 있습니다. 그래서 오늘 중앙일보와 JTB에서는 이 문제를 갖고 각 곳에 계시는 전문가분들을 초빙해서 자담회를 시작하겠습니다. 오늘 오신 분들을 소개해드리겠습니다. 먼저 제 왼쪽부터 신재경 주의원님 나오셨습니다. 그 다음 카렌 숏, 현재 VCC 밴쿠버 칼리지 연합 회장이신 카렌 숏 회장님 나오셨습니다. 제 오른쪽에 샤달리 브루카트 SFU 학생 회장님 나오셨습니다. 다음 제 끝쪽에 데이비드 에비 밴쿠버 포인트 그레이 주의원 나오셨습니다. 감사합니다. 자, 그럼 먼저 본격적인 좌담에 앞서 신재경 주의원님께서 간략하게 오늘 좀 모임의 취지와 다음에 어떤 좀 문제점이 있는지 간단히 좀 말씀을 부탁드리겠습니다. 네.
네, 감사합니다. 오늘도 이렇게 초대해 주시고 좋은 자리 만들어 주셔서 정말 감사합니다. 여러분, 많은 캐나다를 찾아와 주시는 학생들부터 시작해서 또 캐나다로 큰 걸음으로 이민을 해 주시는 여러분들이 아마 캐나다를 보고서는 가장 쉽게 꼽을 수 있는 장점이 아마 교육제도라고 생각하는데요. 그 교육제도가 지금 여러모로 1990년도부터 지금까지 쭉 많이 힘든 과정을 거치면서 저도 지금 의정활동을 2년 동안 하는 그 짧은 시간 안에도 대학교 그리고 트레이닝 에듀케이션 쪽에서도 그리고 ESL 프로그램이라든지 AB 프로그램이 많이 경제적으로 힘들다 해서 이렇게 저렇게 펀딩 컷이 계속되고 있는데요. 그래서 오늘 이 자리를 비롯해서 학생 대표 그리고 저희 강의하는 강사들 대표 그리고 또 주의원을 모셔서 이렇게 같이 얘기해 보시고 또 이 기회를 통해서 여러분들께서 BC에 있는 교육제도에 대해서 더 한번 관심을 가져주시기 바라면서 이렇게 얘기를 가지게 됐습니다. 그래서 오늘 이 자리 만들어 주셔서 다시 한번 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 그럼 먼저 우리 카렌 회장님한테 좀 말씀을 듣도록 하겠습니다. 사실 제일 이번 교육 예산 폐지로 인해서 가장 큰 영향을 받고 있는 곳이 바로 현재 이 VCC 소위 성인 기초 교육 과정을 맡고 있는 VCC 쪽 같습니다. 그래서 먼저 첫 번째 말씀 대담자로 이렇게 모시고자 합니다. 먼저 말씀을 나누기 앞서 간단하게 자기 소개를 하고 그 다음에 이제 얘기를 진행하도록 하겠습니다. Karen, yeah, it's now your turn. So because why don't you introduce yourself for our viewer? Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Karen Short. I'm the president of the Faculty Association at Vancouver Community College. There are about 700 instructors at Vancouver Community College, and we have about 16,000 students. We have two large campuses. One is on East Broadway, so we serve the Broadway corridor, and we have another campus downtown Vancouver, and so we serve the downtown east side primarily. We teach everything from basic education up to university transfer to nursing to auto trades to cooking to baking. So we are very much a community college, and we're very proud of the work we do, and we're very proud of the service that we provide to our community.
Wow, you got many courses. Huh?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes. And we are driven, we are career oriented. So people that go through
Okay.
Vancouver Community College will end up getting a job.
Okay, yeah. So I got some question for you, Karen. Yeah. So what happened to ESL program?
Well,
Yeah.
the funding for ESL was cut by the federal government, and the provincial government refused to take any part in helping it be sustained. So as a result, probably about 5,000 students that we used to come through our ESL programs are now diminished down to maybe 600 or 700. We have ESL back, and we're very happy to have it back, but it is now tuition based. There is some grant funding available from the government, but it is tuition based, and it is much smaller than it was a year ago.
So what's the reason? Why they cutting off the budget?
The federal government has refused to fund ESL, and the provincial government, in our view, the provincial government is responsible for adult education, so the provincial government should be funding this. They are mandated to do this under the College and Institute Act, and we will keep pressing them to do what they are supposed to do.
Okay. So next question is after the budget cutting, so where can immigrants get language support? Yeah,
To get financial support.
Right.
There is financial support available if you are very low income. However, the barriers are still there because the paperwork involved.
Right.
And the people that we are helping get on their feet, get through the necessary courses they need to get a job, are sometimes vulnerable to having a lot of red tape put ahead of them. And so putting forward a grant where something used to be free and now saying, well, now you have tuition, but you can possibly get some money back, is just a barrier for people. So we are very much advocating that the government restore tuition-free ESL and adult basic education. And in 2007, the Liberal government, this government,
they approve. Yeah,
this government said,
they
yes, this is a worthy
right?
cause.
Right.
This should be free. Adult basic education should be free. 2007, 2014, 2015, what changed that they
Right.
decided to pull back all this money? And we still have an economy that needs people that,
Right.
that are work trained, ready to go. So it is very frustrating to deal with this government.
Okay, I see. So, what do you think about the effect of this decision? Yeah.
Well, it's sad to say, but I
Yeah.
think people will probably not come to school as often.
Where they
for as
going? Yeah,
long.
where they gain the listening? Yeah, they are
It's,
learning.
you know, about 40% of our adult population are not at the level of literacy and numeracy that they need to be to work in today's knowledge economy. They need
Oh.
grade 12, they need math, they need chemistry, they need science to go into nursing. We need nurses. We need
Right.
math for
Engineering, yeah, every kind of a job, yeah, right.
working in the auto trades. Any of the trades require math. And so someone who simply wants to get grade 12 math will now be faced with the barrier of having to find a place that they can go that and be able to afford the tuition. This is very expensive, $1,600 for 3 months. Now there is some funding available, but you need to qualify, and so you need to go through the red tapes. I have to wonder how much this is really going to save the government by the time they go through all the bureaucracy of putting a grant in place where something used to be free and accessible and welcoming for people to now have this in place. This is a barrier.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Karen. Yeah. Okay, the next person is the Kadel Burkhardt. Yeah, it's the 다음에 저희가 그 같이 얘기를 나눌 분은 현재 그 SFU 대학의 학생 회장입니다. 그 카델 부카트. Hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, I thought you introduce yourself.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for asking me to be here. My name is Sharday Buchert, and I am the president of the Simon Fraser Student Society, which represents approximately 26,000 undergraduate students at Simon Fraser University's campuses in Burnaby, Surrey, and Vancouver. So we advocate for the needs of undergraduate students, and today I'm hoping to talk a little bit about the problem of deferred maintenance at our Burnaby campus. So thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, so I think most students are setting for this cutting off, right?
I'm sorry?
I think that most students are affecting this cutting off, the budget cutting, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so my first question is what challenges are schools facing as about, is the buildings and innovation or instrument, yeah?
Sure. So Simon Fraser University is a provincially funded institution, and we're facing two major challenges currently. So for this year, Simon Fraser University's operating budget was cut by approximately $2.5 million.
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million.
Okay.
It was also cut the year previous by a similar amount. So this puts a lot of pressure on the institution, and that's less money that can go into funding teachers, research, and other things that benefit students. The second major issue that we're facing at Simon Fraser University is the problem of deferred maintenance. So at our Burnaby campus, many of the buildings, in fact most of the buildings, were all built at the same time. This means that they're facing maintenance needs at the same time. So in the year 2009, Simon Fraser University was receiving $4.6 million in what's called the annual capital allowance, and that is money that's specifically set aside to maintain the buildings at our campus. In 2010, this money was cut to approximately $500,000 per year. This has placed a lot of strain on our university's ability to maintain the infrastructure on our campus. Currently, and this is according to estimates by the Provincial Ministry of Advanced Education, there's $114 million in backlog deferred maintenance, which means that this is routine repairs and fixes to things like pipes, walls, roofs that keep the campus livable. And this is only in the academic buildings alone. When we factor in other costs, such as replacement of things like roads, sewers, and other infrastructure, as well as residence and athletic facilities, this number jumps to over $700 million in deferred maintenance. In the current fiscal year, SFU received $2.1 million for maintenance. This is a welcome amount of money, but it is not enough to maintain the facilities on our campus. It is estimated that approximately $20 million a year is needed just for bare minimum maintenance standards. So what we're seeing now as a result of this backlog is impacts to students. This is taking form in two ways. We have leaky ceilings, shaking pipes,
Wow.
cracks in the roads at our campus, and it really takes away from the investment that's already been made in the education of students in BC. And the second issue is we now see money being taken out of the operating budget. That's money that's supposed to be going to things like classrooms, which is going into repairing classrooms as opposed to funding the resources within them. So in the next 4 years, SFU is diverting $1 million from its operating fund, which is its main money, into maintenance needs, just to address the most pressing issues. So this is really negatively affecting students, but also it's going to compromise the longevity of buildings on the campus. By not maintaining them, it means that they're not going to last as long. And one main issue that we're seeing right now as a result is the closure of Louis Riel House, which is the only family house on our campus. After years of being unable to maintain it, the university has had to shut it down because it's no longer livable. And this means there's no longer affordable family housing on Simon Fraser University's Burnaby campus.
Wow, it's very serious. Yeah. Wow. So, I think that due to the shortage of budget, it endangers the students' safety. Huh? Wow, it's so big problem.
Yes.
Okay, so my next question is so you are president of the SFU Students Society, right? So what is the Students Society asking for?
Well, one of the big things that we're asking for deferred maintenance issues specifically is for funding levels to be increased to at least the levels that they were at in 2008 and 2009. We're also asking that moving forward, maintenance funding be included in the costs of new buildings. Currently, buildings are being built by the provincial government without any plans to fund their maintenance, which means that money is being invested without a plan to ensure that those assets are around for as long as possible.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. 예, 감사합니다. 지금 여러분 이제 들으셨겠지만은 사실 이번 그 예산 삭감으로 인해서 어떤 그 이민자들에 대한 그 지원 부분도 큰 문제지만은 또 어떤 학생들의 그 어떤 수업 환경이 굉장히 좀 계속 악화되고 있습니다. 이런 부분들에 대해서 현재 많은 또 동포들의 어떤 자녀들이 여기 UBC나 SF에 재학 다니고 있습니다. 그래서 이런 부분들도 어떤 저희 교민들의 어떤 삶에 큰 어떤 밀접하게 좀 영향을 미치고 있다 생각을 합니다. 자, 다음에 저희가 모실 분은 데이비드 에비 MLA입니다. 현재 그 밴쿠버 포인트 그레이 지역구를 기반으로 하고 있으며 지난 2013년도에 저희 그 신재경 의원과 함께 그 초선 의원으로 진출했습니다. 그 전에는 그 인권 변호사로 많은 활동을 했습니다. 데이비드 엘비, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming us. Yeah. So why don't you introduce yourself?
안녕하십니까?
Oh, good.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for having me on the show. It's a real pleasure to be here because we don't often get a chance to speak to the Korean community so directly. So thank you for the chance.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
I live in Kitsilano neighborhood of Vancouver, and there are many students in that neighborhood. I represent the area that includes the University of British Columbia.
Right.
So I represent many students, and they come to my office with concerns about different issues.
Right.
So you've heard about different cuts to different programs. It's happening at schools across British Columbia. My old job, the job I had before, was to speak for the NDP on it was called advanced education, so issues affecting universities and colleges. And I would talk to students, and I met a young woman who came, and she said, I'm currently paying for school on a credit card so that I can keep going to school because my student loans aren't enough to pay for school, and I can't get a job that pays enough money during the summer so I can pay for tuition, and my family can't afford the tuition. This is a major issue, and especially at UBC right now, where the rent for student housing is going up 20%.
20%. Wow.
And the reason why the rent is going up at UBC is because the university is using this money to pay for other programs because of the cuts to the provincial government.
Right. Okay.
So the students are paying for these cuts. And as the tuition goes up and up and up, it means that families can't afford to send their
Right.
kids to university anymore.
Right.
This is very serious. I think if you're smart enough to go to university, if you're smart enough to go to college, you should be able to go. And it shouldn't matter how much money your family has. It should be based on what's in your head, not what's in your pocket.
Right.
And this is the system that we're setting up right now in British Columbia. It says if you've got $10,000 a year, then you can go to school. But if you don't have $10,000 per year, sorry about your luck. Maybe you could get a job in a retail store if you're lucky. And I think that's a big problem because for the future of British Columbia, to build this province, people have to have that education. And so when I was advanced education critic, I looked at different issues, different statistics, and one of the ones that I was very worried about was that British Columbia has the most students who are studying part-time. And the reason why they're studying part-time is they need to work a full-time job and then go to school part-time, and they use that job, that full-time
They need
job,
money, right?
to pay for
right,
school.
Right.
And
It's ridiculous. Wow.
that's right. So in other provinces, students don't have that same problem because they have grants
Take grant, right?
that help them pay for school. They have student loans that are at least enough to pay for school, so they can stay focused on school.
Study, right.
They can go to school full time, and in British Columbia, for students here, we don't have that advantage. So a student in Ontario can finish a 4-year program in 4 years, but a student in British Columbia finishes
can
a
finish
4-year
4 years,
program
right?
in
Wow.
6 years, in
6
7
years,
years,
7
in
years.
8
Wow.
years. And so they are that much longer to get out into the job market. It's a very serious problem. And schools like UBC are trying to find money, and so they raise the rents, and that means that more students can't come. And that's a big problem. They don't like it, but they have to do it.
Okay. Wow. I think that the situation is very, very serious. Wow. Than I thought.
I think so. I think that when you look at British Columbia, and now we're in an international market, countries all over the world
Right.
are competing with Canada and competing with British Columbia.
Right.
How do we succeed in British Columbia? A very well-educated population that has a lot of knowledge about the economy, about technology, about how to use those skills to build up our province. And so if we're saying we're not going to provide support to students so that they can get that training, we're saying we don't want to succeed in the global economy.
Right.
We don't want to be the most successful province. We don't want to be the most successful country. And I can't think of anyone who agrees with that message. I think everybody says we want to be the most successful province, and the way to do that is through education. It doesn't matter conservative, liberal, NDP. I think that everyone agrees education
Right.
is central to success. And how do we make our students the most educated, the most successful? I think we should all be working together to do that.
Wow. Okay. So Shadale, so do you agree? Is the David opinion?
Absolutely. At SFU, we see lots of students that are having to work full or part-time
Oh.
while they're studying,
Wow.
and they're slowing down their degrees, which means they're not getting good jobs right out of school. Instead, they're taking longer to study and work part-time or lower-paying jobs.
Okay. So David, I got one question for you.
Please.
You are a politician, right?
Yes, I
And
am.
then politician means make a policy for people to make a better life for them. Yeah. So, what do you think about the? Can you can you explain some policy of your party?
Yes, I think that a lot of people support the idea of education.
Yeah.
And they say, but how are we going to pay for more money to fix the buildings
Right.
at SFU, to pay for English
Yeah,
as a
for-
second
right,
language?
right.
Are we going to raise taxes for everybody to pay for these extra programs? When I went to Victoria, I was shocked at day after day the news about the amount of waste that the government of British Columbia is wasting on. Today the news is $137 million on a computer program that doesn't work. It's called Integrated
Wow.
Case Management. They spent $137 million on this,
Wow.
and it doesn't work.
I cannot believe it.
It's about priorities. It's about what are the big priorities that we want to
Right.
focus on. And so for the party that I represent, we prioritize a good education for people. And for students, it's a small amount of money. For a grant for a student to be for a smart student in British Columbia to be very successful in a master's program, in a PhD program, to bring in the brightest people from around the world to study at SFU, at UBC, a grant program like that would cost 1/10 of how much they wasted on that computer program. 1/10, 10% of that money, a $10 million grant program would bring in the brightest people from around the world to study at our schools. We would be very fortunate. And instead, I see that money going out the door. We had an advanced education minister in the other government who was on the board of Kwantlen University. And when he was there, he wasn't saying, how do I get the best and brightest students? He wasn't saying, how do I make sure that our school is strong for everybody? He was saying, how do I make sure that the senior administrators at the school get paid more money? There was a government rule that said you can only earn this much money, and he worked with his friends to try to pay more than the government rules allowed. It was absolutely insulting because the students at that same school were facing the English as a second language cuts. Their teachers were being fired and have been fired at that school because that program has
Yeah.
been cut, while this man, who is from the other party, from the other government, was giving money to administrators who didn't teach a single course and breaking government rules to do that. So when I see this kind of waste, it makes me very upset because I hear the stories of students, I hear the stories of teachers who are losing their jobs, students who are in leaky roof classrooms. What kind of priorities
Yeah,
are
right.
these?
오케이. 와우. 지금 저희가 오늘 세 분을 모셨는데, 여러분들이 잘 이렇게 들으셨겠지만은, 현재 그 VCC, 그러니까 어떤 이제 성인교육을 담당하고 있는 분야, 다음에 현재 학생, SF에서 공부하고 있는 학생, 그 다음에 빅토리아에서 이제 그 정책을 맡고 있는 이제 정치인을 세 분을 모셨습니다. 그 세 분들 얘기를 들어보면은 각 그 현장의 그 생생한 목소리를 들을 수가 있었습니다. 그래서 물론 이제 여러 가지 이유로 어떤 그 예산 삭감이 진행이 됐을 거라고 생각합니다. 근데 좀 전에 그 데이비드 의원이 얘기하고 우리 카렌 회장과 샤롯 회장이 얘기한 것처럼 과연 무엇에 가장 중요한 프라이어티가 무엇인지 이 부분에 대해서 저희 그 밴쿠버 동포 사회를 비롯한 많은 사람들이 다시 한번 좀 생각을 할 때가 된 거라고 생각할 때인 것 같습니다. 신 의원님,
네.
이 세 분이 쭉 말씀해 주셨는데요.
네.
신 의원님이 또 여러 가지 또 많은 또 그 좋은 의견이 있을 거라고 생각을 합니다. 예, 한번
네.
좀 말씀을 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
저도 지금 의정 활동을 거치면서 아까 데이비드 에비 의원님 말씀하신 것처럼 가장 안타까운 점이, 그리고 또 여러 교민분들이 여기서 텍스도 내시고 세금도 내시고 그 세금이 이렇게 캐나다라는 좋은 나라에서는 정말 좋게 쓰여지지 않을까
예.
하는 그런 믿음을 가지시고 여기서 열심히 이민 생활을 하시는 여러분들이 계시는데, 근데 제가 보기에도 정말 안타까운 점이 이 나라의 돈을 우리 정치인들이 너무 함부로 쓰는 것은 아닌가. 물론 ABE 프로그램이나 ESL 프로그램 그리고 또 저희 교육 시설이 잘 메인테인되기 위해서는 다 돈이 필요하죠.
네.
그런데 그 돈이 어디서 어떻게 나올 것이며 그런 문제점은 저희도 다 생각하고 있는 점인데 예를 들어서 지금 ESL 펀딩 컷에 대해서 이제 공부하기에 더 힘든 저희 뉴 캐네디언들이 9,000명이 넘어요. 이 펀딩 컷으로 인해서. 그래서
9,000명이 이제
네.
피해를 보고 있다는
그렇죠.
말씀이죠.
9,000명이 그 전에는 펀딩을 받을 수 있었는데 이제는 못 받게
이제
되는 게
자기가 돈을
현실이죠.
내고 이제 유료로 하게
예.
된다는 얘기죠.
하지만 나라 살림이 힘들면 모두 다 국민들이 조금씩 희생을 하고 내야 될 안 냈어도 지금 내야 되면은 같이 낼 수 있는
그렇죠.
그런 자세는
예.
돼 있잖아요. 근데 뭐가 문제냐 하면은 벤 스튜어트라고 예전에 그 의원으로 활동하다가 지금 크리스 클라크 저희 프리미어가
그렇죠. 지역구
이제
주고,
자리가
네,
필요하셔서
그렇죠. 네,
이제
네.
자리를 내놓으신
네, 네.
분이 계신데
네.
그분이 이제 새로 직업이 아시아에서 이제
그렇죠.
그 트레이딩 하는 거를
맡았죠.
맡으시는 분이 계시는데 그분은 중국에서 1년에 한 6개월도 못 넘고 그 활동을 하셨는데 그 활동을 위해서 중국말을 배우라고 2,500불이 나왔어요.
예.
그래서
저희도 그
정말-
기사를 봤습니다.
네.
저희도 한번 보도를 했는데
네.
굉장히 예산 낭비가 심하더라고요. 그런 부분.
그래서 그런 식으로 돈을 쓸 수 있는 나라 예산이 있다면 왜 정말 절실히 필요한 저희 교민분들 그리고 여기서 열심히 생활하시는 이민자분들 여기 오셔서 정착하시기 위해서 공부를 하셔야 되는 분들이 한두 분이 아니세요.
네.
근데 그런 분들이 조금 더 성공하실 수 있도록 투자를
그렇죠.
우리 정부가 좀 더 열심히 해야 되지 않는가 그런 거에 이제 안타까움을 갖고 그리고 오늘 이 자리를 비롯해서 시청하시는 여러 교민분들이 선생님의 말씀 또 우리 학생 그리고 또 같이 저랑 활동하고 있는 의원님들의 염려를 좀 들어보시면은 정보를 또 널리 공유를 해주시고 또 앞으로 또 정치에 대해서 여기 캐나다에 들어오는 여러저러 안건에 대해서 앞으로 유권자로 더 많이 관심을 가져주셨다면 좋겠다는 그런 바람으로 오늘 이 자리에 참석하게 됐습니다. 그래서 또 다시 한번 이렇게 자리를 만들어 주셔서 정말 감사합니다.
예, 감사합니다. 예. 좀 전에 신재경 의원께서 말씀하셨다시피 이제 많은 어떤 문제점들이 있습니다. 문제점이 있고 물론 이제 모든 뭐 교육이나 어떤 뭐 교통 문제, 어떤 환경 개선을 위해서 많은 게 예산이 필요로 합니다. 근데 과연 이제 어떤 것에 주안점을 두고 중점을 두고 이제 그 예산 집행을 하느냐 그 부분은 BC주의 주민들을 위해서 해야 된다는 것에 대해서는 거의 다 이렇게 공감대가 있을 것 같습니다. 이제 이런 부분들을 실천하기 위해서는 저희 그 한인 동포 여러분께서 좀 더 정치에 관심을 갖고 이렇게 적극적으로 참여를 하면서 참여 속의 어떤 이런 변화와 개혁을 저희 그 밴쿠버 한인 사회도 같이 이끌어내는 그런 견인차가 되었으면 합니다. 오늘 저희 특별 좌담의 주제는 그 성인 그 대상 언어 성인 대상 영어 교육 그 예산 삭감에 따른 문제점에 대해서 문제점과 다음에 그 예산 그 삭감으로 인한 그 피해를 보고 있는 대학생 그 다음에 현재 그 부분을 직접 정치 현장에서 보고 있는 저희 데이비드 의원을 모시고 이 세 분을 모시고 저희가 각 현장에 그 소리를 생생하게 들었습니다. 오늘 자담회가 그 동포 여러분들의 어떤 그 현실 정치 이해에 좀 더 도움이 되었으면 좋겠습니다. 오늘 이 자리에 와주신 우리 세 분 여러분 감사드립니다. Thank you for having us.
고맙습니다.
Thank you for having us.
Very much.
자, 이것으로 특별 자담을 마치겠습니다. 감사합니다.